You're listening to the Mind Shift Podcast. My name is Erwin McManus, and I'm here with my great friend, McLaren Lewis. We're here in London in what looks like Abbot Kinney in Venice. We're in like a
I don't even know what that is, but tell me more.
No, we're like in this is like beautiful yoga, wellness space. So shout out Tolly House.
Yeah, Tolly
here
House.
in Covent Garden.
House.
Yeah.
This used to be actually like a sail loft, like for ships.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's what this, like there's like a trap door right in front of us.
Exactly.
And so that's
exactly where they would, like from the ground up, they would have the sails and work on them and restitch them and everything like that. And now we're doing a podcast in it.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
So wonderful. So
London
shout out Tolly
history.
House for letting us use the space.
Thank you.
Amazing. Go Google it. Great new brand. Okay. So tell us a little bit about you and how you ended up in London.
Oh, wow. Okay. We're going
all the way back. We're going origin story. Origin story.
Well, I came here from New Zealand, which is 24 hours away. It's a really long way away. Basically, my family, my dad, he got a job here, but it ended up being a place that was really hard to start again for him, because before New Zealand, we were actually in Zimbabwe.
So you were born in Zimbabwe?
Yeah, I was, yes.
How long did you live in Zimbabwe?
Until I was 10 years old. I was just about to finish off primary school, like elementary for all our Abbot Kinney people.
All the Americans who don't know what primary school is.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. We're just about to finish up there, and he worked in government with like his businesses and import and export and everything like that. And so there was a direction of travel that Zimbabwe was going in politically, and he had a little bit of an in about where things were going to go. And so his decision there was, okay, life's really good, but there's no future for the kids here. So we decided to move. We were actually going to move to Australia, but there was a 3.5 year visa process. And then New Zealand was asking for people to come.
Because they're really just a bunch of sheep down there.
Yeah. When we got there, I think this fact is still true. There is 10 sheep to each person.
Per each person. Yeah, no. It's insane.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's where we moved to, a place called Wainui o Mata, which is just outside Lower Hutt in Wellington.
Okay.
We didn't last long there, and then we moved to a small town called Palmerston North. And then perfect timing, just when like I got all the friends I thought I ever needed at 16 years old, my parents decided, or my dad was like, hey, we're going to move to London because I don't like it here. I can't start again, because basically with his education stopped at 16 or 17. He didn't do university or anything like that. And so like starting again meant going back to the job he was doing when he was 16. And he was a welder. So from dealing with governments and importing like syringes for hospitals to welding literal, maybe there was some ships involved.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you guys moved to England.
Yeah. Okay. We moved to England. But the crazy thing about that is that like, and he's going to hate me for saying this, but the reason we went to New Zealand first is because we didn't want to come here, because he actually had a lot of family here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was
dodging. So we were like, we're going the other side.
We're going to the other side of the Commonwealth. We're out of here.
But we made it all the way back here.
Okay.
And then,
that's amazing.
So now I've been here 20 years, which is crazy.
It's crazy.
I've been here in London longer than I've lived in any other country, which is,
So do you resonate with being British?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
I resonate with being British. I resonate with being a British Londoner.
Okay.
Who cares about the city that I call home.
I think London's one of those beautiful places where you have this melting pot of unique people from all over the world that can actually call London home.
Exactly.
There's not a lot of places that allow that. You know what I mean?
No,
culturally.
For real. Yeah.
Like, no, you're not this. We're this. But I feel like what makes London is the diversity and the uniqueness.
Yeah, exactly that. Is like there is so much diversity here, but it's almost like I guess it would be a little bit like New York and LA.
No, it does.
In terms of like, okay, you go to New York and LA and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then you go to the rest of America and you're like, okay.
You're like, oh, this
LA and New York aren't America.
Alabama. Alabama. And I love my Alabama. Shout out everyone in Iowa that we always trash on.
Iowa.
Yeah, I don't know why Iowa's always just like Iowa.
Iowa.
And then I always get DMs being like, yo, we love you in Iowa.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, yeah, we love you Buckeyes too. No, but the middle of America and the South is so much different than the coasts.
Yeah.
But so I think, yeah, and that's why I love London. I feel like this is genuinely one of the most diverse places in the entire world. Because you have every continent represented here.
No, for sure.
Are you emotional? I'm just getting you crying.
The diversity. You know? No, it's hay fever season, so
okay.
I've got a tear rolling down my cheek.
So growing up in London and then staying in London, what were a few of the things that you realized maybe growing up? Like how was it making friends? How was it kind of acclimating to this culture? What was different about this versus New Zealand versus Zimbabwe? Was it interesting having all your family here? I've met your family. Everyone's wonderful. It's like everyone has a personality. Everyone's like really unique. You have sisters. I've met your mom and dad. It's
They love you.
I love them.
Yeah, like
it's great.
Even especially with my dad, which he loves a lot of people. He just like expresses it through actions, but he actually says it about
my hand still hurts from when he shook it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a ploy.
And then your mom puts like puts the fear of God in I think everyone she meets. I was like, oh, you're just different. Like she reminded me of Kim McManus, my mother.
They're one and the same.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's fun. Where did we get to with that question? I think here. It was such a weird thing for me because the culture shock came from the fact that I lived in New Zealand. But actually it was so similar to the culture that I actually experienced as a kid in Zimbabwe. Because in New Zealand, I was the only... No, okay. There was a guy called Raymond, and he was the only other person of color in the district that I grew up in. And so now I think like the landscape's changed a little bit in New Zealand, but then coming here, it actually felt strange to see people that looked like me again. And so making friends was interesting because like I felt really foreign because I grew up in New Zealand, but it was so easy to make friends because they were like me. And there was a lot more experiences that I found that I was more akin to than there was in New Zealand. In New Zealand, I felt like a foreign,
like alien to that culture. Yeah,
completely. Yeah. But I adopted it really quickly, and so I had to re-adopt myself and actually rediscover myself when I came here.
How was that? Like, what was that process like? I mean, even just can you put yourself back at being 16 years old going, it's very different. Like New Zealand's, the biggest city feels small compared to even like a suburb of London.
Yeah. I mean, geographically, yeah. But then like also, okay. I don't know if it's small. I think it's slow. Like it's so
it's
slow.
Yeah.
But like in the best way. You know what I mean? Like you would get in trouble if you walk down the street in New Zealand and you don't strike up a conversation with someone. You know what I mean?
It's very communal, very engaging.
Exactly. Whereas here, you strike up a conversation with someone, either it's like attack or defense. It's like, are you about to rob me or am I about to rob you? That's the feeling that you kind of get walking the streets as a 16-year-old. Because basically when I got here, so North and Southern Hemisphere have different school years. So I couldn't start school for 8 months.
When you moved here?
When I moved here.
Oh, that's
so I hated it.
Yeah.
Because I knew no one. And it was a cold city. It was dirty. Yeah. People wouldn't say hello. And so like I didn't have any friends. Like my daily routine was to wait for my little sister to finish school so I could go pick her up. And before that, I would have chores and everything like that. And I was trying to look for like a part-time job. That didn't work out. And so for like 6 of those 9 months, all I did was reminisce and talk to people in New Zealand and just reflect on how much of life I'd kind of left behind. because in 17, you know, the world is your friends, and I'd lost that, and it was magnified because I didn't have any here yet. But then I ended up being dragged to a church community, and my mum dragged me. And actually, like I'd started following Jesus when I was like 14, but when I came here, I kind of, you know, left that behind. But then I got dragged into a church community, and I came out of a tube station at Old Street, and there was these two random, really tall, big dudes that looked like they were going to rob me. And they were like, "Oh, hey, you're McLaren, right?" And I was like, "What? Yeah, that is me. Please don't take my thing."
I just got here.
Yeah, I literally just got here.
Yeah.
And then they introduced me to some people in an office in a random part of Old Street that I discovered was like one of the church goers' like office during the week. And so for the young people's program, they let us use it. And there's still people that are friends today, that I'm friends with today, that I met that day.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that changed, honestly, that changed everything. And if you're moving to London, that's what's going to change everything for you, is meeting people. Because if you come here and you go Big Ben, Green Park, see the change of the garden, everything like that, you're going to be underwhelmed by the city, because you're going to be able to see it in a day, especially with a Lime bike. That's the way to see the city, by the way.
That was actually crazy. We have a whole story about a Lime bike. That we came for the first Mosaic event back in end of September.
Yeah.
We had a team of us that came out from LA. Like Carlos and Austin. I think some of the boys that are just part of the crew just flew out on their own. Reggie and like cool Evo and those guys. Yeah, it was like cooking for people. Like Evangelist was in more people's kitchens than I've ever been in this city. He's still here. We love those guys. And I feel like, you know, we were able to come in and be a part of that team and kind of help launch and be around you guys. And community changes everything.
Exactly.
Community changes everything. But we decided to go to North London Derby.
Yeah, we did.
Which just kind of like one of the guys works in tickets.
Yeah.
Like this one of our guys that flew out, what he does, he just flips tickets. And he's like, "Hey, I found these tickets. You want to go?" And I was like, "Can you get 8 of them or 10 of them?" And we all kind of mobbed to
And can
Tottenham.
I say, him getting those tickets was, I've never seen anything like it.
No, he's a magician.
Yeah, that was a miracle.
And then also while he's like cooking pancakes.
Yeah,
because we did like a Sunday brunch thing or a Saturday brunch thing. And he's like
okay,
cooking and being like, "Hey, do you like these seats? Is this a good?" I'm like, yeah. But that was like a unique experience for us, because I think I'd only gone to one football game in London.
Yeah.
I think it was Crystal Palace, and they were playing. I don't remember who they were playing.
Okay, fair enough.
But that was unique. And
Crystal Palace is a good stadium.
It was cool. It was very Ted Lasso.
Right.
Now, but in the moment, I was like, I have no context for what this is and represents. Now, having been educated more in the ways of the cult that is Premier League.
Yeah.
Tottenham versus Arsenal. There was like that's like the Bloods versus the Crips in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I would go that far.
It was in America, we love our sports. We love our sports because we love to eat, we love to hang, they love to tailgate, love to do things. No one's fighting. Mostly no one's fighting.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No one's but it's like almost gang related when you go to a game here.
I've seen like people sitting next to each other and they're wearing each other's, like, the rival teams are sitting next to each other in the crowd.
In the US.
Yeah.
You'll have like, you'll have a Rams fan next to a Chargers fan.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Whereas
they're talking trash, but they're friendly.
Yeah. It's banter.
It's banter.
Yeah.
But here, I felt
different.
fear.
My central nervous system was shot after that game.
But you have to give a context, because you were sitting in the the Tottenham fan section.
Yeah. And okay, this is the thing, is that like, if you even have, like, if you're wearing a white t-shirt and you're an Arsenal fan in the stadium, they won't let you in. And so I needed to explain to my partner.
Wait, why?
Who's
Why?
Australian. Oh, because
You got to explain it.
Well, because if you are found in an Arsenal stadium,
Okay.
with a rival team's colours, especially Tottenham's,
Right.
there will be physical violence that you endure.
Yeah.
And then you'll explain afterwards that you were just wearing a white t-shirt it had nothing to do with the team.
No, it was one of the most interesting things trying to explain to my dad. Because
Yes.
he came out, and then I think one of us was like, you can't wear those, like, you can't wear those that shirt or something.
Yeah,
and it had nothing to do with the teams. I was just like, you can't have any red. We're going to Tottenham Stadium.
Exactly.
And he goes, what? But I don't. And he goes, I was like, it doesn't matter. It'll be a sea of blue.
Mm-hmm. And then red.
Or no, in Tottenham it was a sea
Oh,
of
yeah,
blue.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
the
white
game
and
that we
blue.
went to. But you're talking about Arsenal being there.
I was about to say, you're about to get us cancelled.
No. But like where we are, the experience we were, and I was like, I've never told my dad what to wear in that way, and I'm like, hey, I don't know if you can wear. He's like, I'll go.
It's actually like it's a real thing. Because people play it down, and then you get into the stadium. So the context is the tickets that Evo got us, which were amazing and incredible, but they were in the Tottenham section. And so if I was ever seen, or my girlfriend was ever seen to cheer even a little bit, if they ever got an inkling that we were for like the rival team, I don't know if we would have made it out of there. And I'm like, it might sound like I'm saying that for a reaction.
Yeah.
No.
We were, because none of us sat together.
It
was like me and Dad, and then like some of the boys, and then you guys, and so we're kind of all texting. And you had said, like I'm in the fan section. This I have to like remind myself. And Arsenal kept scoring, and so they scored twice, I think, once or twice.
Yeah, it was 2-0. Yeah. We won.
Yeah. And you could only hear one scream as McLaren in the fan section. But I think but that speaks to maybe the fanaticism, but also like the beauty of the culture here. Like when people care about something, people care.
Yeah.
There's a beautiful culture of that.
Because there's so much history behind it. Like even that fandom of these teams has been there for longer than some countries have existed. And so there's a real, what's the word? It's not culture, but there's a real, there's a tribalism. Yeah. That's like almost the foundation of the way things work here.
Like passed down from like father to son, right? Like there's generations of people who grow up in these neighborhoods.
Genuinely.
And I think, and this is such a tangent on soccer, football, but I think
we're going to get here.
We're going to get here. And then it has to do with the line back. We'll end it there. But you talk to people and there are broken homes, and the broken homes here are, Dad's like an Arsenal supporter, and somehow the son turned up a Chelsea supporter. Yeah. Because, and then it's like, well, I don't love my son.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't love him on Saturday and Sunday.
It would make for some very awkward dinner conversations. Sure, yeah.
But I find it really unique. So essentially, we went to the game, and I made a new friend. He still texts me on WhatsApp.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, every couple of months.
Wow.
He's insane.
Yeah.
And he got a single ticket from his dad. His dad gave him one of his season tickets and was like, hey, go to this game. And he got to be in his late 30s, early 40s. My man loved me. I don't know how. And I'm afraid of him because he's like, who are you a fan of? And I was like, brother, I know the answer to this. Yeah, exactly. Whoever you're a fan of, I'm a fan of. And then he just decides to mansplain everything about the Premier League for the next hour. And it was but he was very heated. And I've never heard language like that in my entire life.
I bet you would have learned a few new swear words that day for sure.
Screaming. Women and children screaming.
Exactly, especially the children.
So we get out of this stadium, and we're trying to get an Uber. It starts pouring rain, and we're down the street, and I think my dad just finally goes, let's just line bike it. Like how far is it?
And for context, like it would be like going, that is a long way.
It was 14 miles.
Yeah.
I still remember.
Actually, okay, you do?
Yeah, I do, because it was 7 miles to get to Central, and then another 7 to get to West.
Because the suggestion kind of came out, and we're like, okay, maybe we'll line back to like a quieter section so we can get an Uber. Yeah. And then we ended up line biking 14 miles.
It was a vibe.
But it was actually, once we got out of North London, it was beautiful. We got to see some sights, and it was a moment, right?
It was a moment. And there was like 10 or 12 of us riding these line bikes going for, I think it took us like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours.
It was a long time.
It was one of the most beautiful experiences. One, because doing life with friends is just genuinely so special. Yeah. But in a city like London that sprawls.
Exactly.
And there's cultures and neighborhoods and old pubs and unique parks and beautiful architecture. There's something just so special about doing it with friends and doing it with people who don't know the city and the people who do know the city.
Exactly.
And that was the best tour guide situation I've ever experienced.
Yeah, for real though.
It was a beautiful day.
Usually as a Londoner, you're on the tube, the underground.
Yeah.
And so like you go from one part of London to the next, but all you see is the gates of the tube on the side, and then the gates of the tube on the other side. So even for me, like being on a line bike all the way across London, you're like, oh wow, yeah, that's what this looks like from this part.
It was crazy. I still have videos and I look back and I'm like, that was one of the best days on a trip I've ever had.
Yeah, for sure.
So special. So, okay, let's skip. Building community in London, how has that been for you?
Yeah.
Because you've been doing church in some capacity.
Yeah,
you had a church before who was amazing, and we love them.
Love.
Like and you learned so much from one of the best leaders ever, Gary Clark.
Yeah,
and that whole team. And we could shout out a dozen people.
Yeah, the list is long.
But the Yoda is
exactly. Gary. Yeah. The people that we would put on the list would put him on the list.
Would put him on the list.
So
yeah. But that journey through COVID, coming out of it, and then also like teaming up with us and working on a mosaic together. Yeah. What's that journey been like? How's building community in London? What are things that you notice compared to LA and the different cities that you've been in? Yeah, I think we had a conversation on Pastor Erwin and I had a conversation on stage the last day of a mosaic conference, and he explained to everyone at a conference that like there's been a desire to be here and build community here in London for a long time. And in that moment, my response was, actually, I felt like it's not that like Mosaic needs to be in London, it's that London needs a Mosaic. It was that kind of way around. And so I say that because when it comes to building community, it wasn't just that we were building community, it was being able to build a culture within a community that had this like gritty sense of resilience to break through the historical culture that already exists. And so the beautiful thing about that is that we were able to start things like organically. So usually the way that you would start any kind of enterprise or organization or anything like that is like, oh no, you have to do this and you have to do that and you have to do this and you have to do this. But the unique thing was we sat down the last day before I came back to London, and the question was, okay, what are we going to do? And I think the really unique thing about the way that we started community here is that rather than building a team to facilitate things, we built a community. And that community began to multiply against itself because of the culture that we're creating amongst our community. And it was nothing fancy. It was literally like, hey, we're here together, and what we have in common is that. And if it's that we have in common, then we now have each other's backs. So the potential that you have in your life, I'm taking responsibility for it. And I can fully do that because I know that you're taking responsibility for the potential that you see in me. So the whole premise was to push each other into our God-given potential. And we had a mission behind us, which is, to be a people of faith who are known by love and a voice of hope. And we had core values that surrounded that, and that lit a fire in so many people, because we started in a coffee shop. Which one? It's called Foreign Exchange. It's in Bayswater. Sorry. It is so aesthetically pleasing to the eye. Okay. And the coffee's pretty good. That's pretty good. It's a good vibe. Yeah. And actually, that was through a friend of ours. He opened up the shop. He was the main barista, like the lead, right? He was the lead barista. And he was like, I literally went there for coffee and I was telling him about what we were trying to do. And he was like, that sounds amazing. Do you want to do it here? And I was like, yes. Is that Hallam? Yeah, Hallam, yeah. Sick. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we can name that. He's in Abbott Road. He's at Abbott Road? Yeah, Abbott Road. Opening a new spot? Yeah, sick. Yeah, okay. Exactly. He's opened up another spot. So he's left Foreign Exchange, but it's still good. And he was like, hey, yeah, let's do it here. I'll ask the owners. We'll see what we can do about renting it and everything like that. And we had it from 6 to 8. It was 15 people. Some of them were my friends. Some of them were people I knew from the past. Some of them were people who brought friends. And some of them were people who I was like, hey, you need this. You need this in your life. And we threw them together.
in the coffee shop. And the same way that I've just explained to you, I explained to them. And we had to be out of there by 8. And Helen was true to kicking us out at that time. And then we went to the pub next door and stayed there until like midnight. Sick. Just talking about the potential of what this could be if it actually like turned out the way we were talking about it. And that was the legs of the community that we're building, was the fact that we had a foundation of not what it's going to look like, not the campaigns that we're going to create, not even the things that we're going to do, but the people that we're going to become and help others become.
I mean, it was especially like coming on that trip. It was really, really special because, you know, you're watching it from afar. I mean, you were pretty much, the coffee shop is the size of like a quarter of this room.
Yeah.
Like, this is not
tiny.
a big room, right? Like it's a tiny little like cool walk up.
Yeah.
It literally used to be an old foreign exchange. It looks like it's built out of a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah.
And then you were just flooding into the streets at some point with just people kind of meeting up, and it was like a little Bible study kind of hang situation. But then you would do like a run club in the mornings, and then you guys would all walk, you know, the people who didn't want to run would just walk the park.
Yeah,
you guys
the
would
run walk.
It'd be like the run walk, which meant you were running and your girlfriend was walking with like the other crew. And it was just like being a part of that and that on-ramp. It was like such an easy, simple request. It was like, hey, you don't have to sign away on the dotted line. It's like just turn up for a coffee, go on a walk or a run, and here's just a built-in crew of friends that you can like plug into and engage with.
Yeah, because there was like real thought behind that. You know, it didn't happen by mistake necessarily, but like even in the lead up to that, what I wanted to do was we obviously had to decide where we were going to start, like where we were going to go. And, you know, I had some thoughts about it, and in one sentence, we had decided, no, we're going to go where we grow. And so with those 15 people, there was going to be 4 what we call meetups. And they're called meetups not because we're trying to be fancy, but it's because it's not a Bible study, and it's not a dinner party because we can't promise dinner. Right. But we're meeting up, and we might be meeting up to run. We might be meeting up to read the Bible together. We might be meeting up to just like have a chat. And so we put 2 meetups in East and 2 meetups in West. So then we can see, okay, and that was
see where people are coming from.
Yeah, exactly. That was like the competition. It's like, oh, you want to start in East? Okay, let's make sure East is where it grows. And then the first thing we ended up doing was in Central. So I guess that was a tie.
But I feel like that's such a testament to there's only so much you can plan for.
Exactly.
And then you just have to also ebb and flow.
Tell me about it.
With the roller coaster that is like life. And so, you know, I know from the journey, because it's almost been a year since I've been here. I mean, it's August now. I was here in the end of September. It was far too long. But a lot can happen. A lot of good, a lot of bad.
For sure.
And so, and one thing I've learned about England, or London maybe, is, well, England.
Yeah,
England moves slowly in certain areas.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, all governments have that thing.
Yeah.
You know, trying to get a driver's license in the US, it's like almost impossible.
Oh, yeah,
you know?
fair enough.
You know, but
I have heard that. The DMV,
things
it's world famous.
DMV that's like my least favorite place. That and IKEA are my least favorite places in the world.
Oh,
yeah. IKEA stresses me out more than anything.
But you love Sweden.
I love Sweden.
Oh, okay.
I also love the internet. I just order it.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I think that that one thing that we've learned is that just the topography of even just people and community can just look so different in a year. There's what has been one of the best things that you've seen, and what's one of the hardest things that you've seen?
Yeah, I think the best, I don't know if it'll ever change. Like, I know you're always growing and moving forward and everything like that, but like the best thing that I've seen is the community. And the community being like what it's actually meant to be. The stories that I could tell, we could be here for hours and hours just talking about the amount of times that people have stepped in or stepped up for each other. And it's not just in the sense of like, I'm going to pray for you and I'm going to send you a text and I'm going to follow up. It's like, no. You can't get a job. Okay, wait, let's do this workshop together. I know this person and they're looking. So let's set you up with that interview. Oh, what? You've been trying to set up a music career for years? You've got so much talent. What's the issue? oh, you're paying this person, you're paying this person. Okay, sweet. The whole entire team came around an individual, and what she was trying to do in for years, done in a weekend, because of the community coming together, like people being in people's houses. Like I ended up in someone's house at 1 a.m. just talking through life because they were going through something that was insane. But the only reason that I was there is because, well, my phone was on silent and I wasn't the first person to be called as the leader of the community. There was a list of like 10 people, but I happened to live the closest. And so person number 9 was like, no, McLaren's the closest, he should go. And so I'm like, oh yeah, of course. Like I'm going right now. But, and even like I tried to move, I'm moving house at the minute.
Yeah. How's that going?
Yeah, it's terrible. I hate moving, and
I don't think anyone likes moving.
Yeah, exactly. And I just learned exactly why that's the case. But that's another story. But even in that, someone texted me and was like, hey, I'm so sorry that I can't help you move. And I was like, oh yeah, like I didn't even ask you to help me move. And they're like, yeah, it's just because I'm helping someone else move in our community. So the only reason that this person can't get help is because that person's being helped. You know what I mean?
Which is fine because your car broke down.
Yeah, exactly.
You weren't really moving. You were just sitting on the side of the road with Daniel over here.
Exactly. Daniel in the background spent
running audio
the entire day with me yesterday.
Just like it's such a testament to just the kindness of the people that are around you. I was like, if I had done that, you know me, I would have hopped in a car and I would have been back in the city.
100%.
I did offer to come help paint, but then you never made it.
No,
so I was like,
didn't.
okay,
no,
well, I'm just here at the house. But I asked him, I was like, how is the situation? She goes, I had a great time.
Yeah, he said, I had fun. I was like, when?
I had fun. I was like, when was it fun? The 3.5 hours you're sitting on the side of the road when the clutch wouldn't work?
It was a wild time. But just the community that we're building, that is the testament, and that is the best. That's the best thing that I've seen about it, is that it is actually, there's a reality to the community because they let people into their reality, so it is affected. So like Jesus' hands and feet are Jesus' hands and feet. That's actually what happens. It's not some theory, it's stories. The worst thing has been, or the hardest, it wasn't the worst. The hardest thing was the thing that I thought was going to be the easiest, and that was the administration of actually setting up a organization within our country is crazy. There is hoops that you have to jump through that are invisible hoops, and when you don't jump through them, you have to start the whole process again.
It's really unique.
I don't
think
insane.
people realize how hard it is to start something.
No.
I don't think we realized it, and I think that was something we learned in the process, because the other campuses that we have in different countries in Latin America, and I'm from my dad's from El Salvador. I've inherited that bloodline, but my Latin people, like, rules are bendable.
Yeah, exactly.
Governments are easier to work with and then more difficult to work with, but it's all negotiable.
Yeah.
Right. And our amazing campus in Mexico City, amazing, but like, it's known. There's a law, but there's always a law that gets you around the law.
Exactly.
And it's not necessarily illegal. It's just it's just go. It's just
there for sure.
But here it's very by the book. It moves at a snail's pace, and it took you a while to even just get a bank account.
The bank account was like the longest thing out of everything. If I put it this way, the rules here are as old as the buildings. And when a rule is that old, it doesn't bend, it breaks. And through the process, basically, we were kind of looking at like how much we can do without getting in trouble, basically, because we don't actually want to get in trouble, we had a lawyer who's been volunteering his time, who's now on our board, he's a partner in his firm, and so the amount of money that it would take to even spend 15 minutes with him is ridiculous. But voluntarily, he's been like walking us through the process, and he actually said to me, "Hey, we need to bring in an expert because I've never seen it be this difficult. And this is the story the expert told us.
He's a very good lawyer at a very good firm.
Like,
who's seen this a million times.
Exactly.
And is like, what's slow? Why is this happening?
Why is this? He genuinely asked me, he's like, in all seriousness, who is it that you have annoyed in the Charities Commission? Because this is ridiculous. And we got an expert in who has started multiple charities, and they told us the story about a community that raised enough money to be able to build a building. That building was millions and millions of pounds. And once the building was built, the Charities Commission had determined that it actually wasn't built for the use that fulfills the mandate that charity has. And so that building that was fundraised by the community that existed in it was taken away because it didn't fulfill all of these rules and regulations.
So it's been a process of navigating. And I think a part of like this conversation that I wanted to start, and we've been talking about this for months now, since conference in February, or was it February? Wow, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Was it February or was it May?
It was in the lead up to conference was in May, but the conversations were before that.
But one of the things I wanted to talk about is like, is the journey of the good and the bad when starting a campus, when starting a community. Like, I think that one thing that we talked this on Sunday, it was like, I said hi to someone and I was like, how are you doing? And they're like, I'm not doing well.
Yeah.
And they're really open. And then you asked them and then they were like, I'm doing good. And I was like, and I think this is not a knock to that person.
No,
I think
for sure.
I think every one of us has those experiences. It really just depends on how you ask it, when you ask it, in that moment of vulnerability.
Exactly.
And I think the reality with a lot of churches, and especially communities like this, we tend to look at the communities like Mosaic, a Hillsong, an Elevation, a Church of the Highlands.
Yeah.
There's those all over the world.
Yeah.
And go, wow, these are really established. They're really legitimate. But we don't really talk about the things that are really not established and really not legitimate.
Exactly.
And you go on Sunday and you go, okay, there was no one running sound. You know, like you had called me. I kind of popped into London last minute because I have to go to a wedding, and you had said, hey, there's like everyone's gone.
Yeah, it's August.
And I was like, hey, whoever shows up, you know?
Exactly.
So one of the things that I want to break down is and we'll continue this conversation over time. So this is not a complete episode. This is just like the intro to what I think a conversation that we will have. Is I really do want to get into the things that suck about building community. And not from like a hating perspective, but of like the things that you just have to break through
for sure
in communities. Like, how do you get people to consistently commit? How do you get people to who are having great moments and awful moments in their own lives? And how do you go from like once a month to every week? How do you load in gear? How do you drop off gear? How do you keep people sane in that process?
For sure.
And I think we're so accustomed to, you know, Sunday to Sunday to Sunday to Sunday, and having things built and prepared and ready to go for us. And you were part of a huge church.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That had hundreds of people on staff
100%.
and who were working really hard. And that was extremely difficult to do, even with support, even with the ability to do things.
Yeah.
And so now we're looking at it in like in a smaller, maybe petri dish or a case study. And I just want to track this and document it, because I think over time we can look back and go, well, that thing that was an issue in 2025 isn't an issue in 2026.
Exactly.
Now we have new issues.
Yeah.
There's always new problems with growth. So I think at the beginning, with this, like, what has been, because you were in this beautiful venue, you had kids crying the entire time.
Yeah.
And which was like absolutely insane. And I looked over to one of your friends, and she's wonderful, and I was like, is that normal? And she's like, oh no, this is especially loud.
Yeah.
But the way that you spoke and just managed through that was a masterclass in and of itself. You didn't let it distract you. You didn't let any of the things in the room be a deterrent to the message you were trying to give. And I don't know what your second 2 points were, but I do know what your first one was.
Yes.
And the story that you talked about, can we dive into a little bit about that background of that story and kind of close this episode with that?
Yeah, for sure. What was my first point?
I was here in 2023 going through a really, really bad breakup that I had earlier that year. And I was running from, I don't know what it is, running from recovery, I basically had like just started therapy, and she was like, you're an addict. And I was like, addicted to what? And she's like, I don't know, this awful feeling. And she's like, I want to treat this, and I want to basically break down the things in your life and the patterns. And I was like, okay, I need a fresh start. Let me just go to London for a few weeks. And a great friend was like, let's trade houses. Then I met up with you. You were going through your own season of chaos, and something happened.
I mean, I was there is so much to the timing of when that conversation happened, because you literally, like you always do, randomly text me and was like, hey, I'm in London, let's hang. And I'm like, okay. But what you didn't know was, in the background of all of that, I was on the other end of a really, really serious, like, depression, a deep depression, clinical. I didn't end up taking medication, but that was heavily suggested by my psychologist, and she had walked with me through it the whole time. There was times where I was in a therapy session twice in a day, just to make sure that I was staying on track. And and your text came the day after I actually finished up at my old job, where I was working at Hillsong. And so the timing was crazy, because I'd just been in and amongst like a whole bunch of conversations that I just never thought I would have in that space. It was where like a lot of my learning came from, and a lot of my adulthood was given to this
raised
thing.
by that house.
Yeah, 100%.
All of your formidable years of like
exactly.
becoming a man.
Yeah, genuinely. And so, you know, you're in conversations that you never thought you were going to have, and then you're thinking thoughts that you never thought you were going to think. And then I was in this place where I was like, okay, thinking about, wow, I actually have to think about what's next, and this part of my life isn't part of the conversation. Whoa. Then I sit down with you, and you got the brunt of all of it.
It was like opening up a fire hose.
Yeah.
In my face, in a way.
Yeah, for sure.
But in like the best way, because when you're friends with someone, you don't know what they're going through.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like, well, where have I been? Why haven't I checked in?
For sure.
Or just called, you know?
And I realize now, thinking back, like we played tennis every day from that trip.
I don't play tennis well, which speaks to your patience.
But this is what I realized is like, you weren't playing tennis because you wanted to play tennis. You were playing tennis to make sure I was okay.
Just wanted to check in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so like that was really helpful.
There were kids next to us playing tennis better than it was like, hey, stand in the square, hit it back. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But this is the turning point in my depression was a moment where I felt like I was having a good day, because I made it from my bed to the kitchen. And so I was like, I need to capitalize on this, like having my psychologist in my ear or my therapist in my ear. And then I was like, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to make it out the house. And so on my journey to the gym, I had to take a train, as you always do. And then I got to the platform that I was about to get off. And I noticed this ridiculously huge guy. And I noticed him because he was huge and intimidating. And
context, you're 6'2"?
Yeah, I'm 6'2".
So if you're calling a guy huge,
he is huge. Guy. Yeah. He is formidable. You know those people who is like, you're big and you have presence? Yeah. How is that fair, you know?
Anu is that guy.
Yeah.
When Anu hugs me, I'm just praying to God he doesn't lift me off the ground on accident.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay,
he was bigger than Anu. That's how crazy this was. Anyway, I noticed him. And, you know, I'm going through stuff. I'm thinking through stuff. I'm like trying to make it to the gym. I'm determined. And then all of a sudden I get this like overwhelming like feeling. I start sweating. My heart starts racing. And I'm like, oh, okay. Panic attack number 3 today, or whatever the case may be, you know. I didn't actually have 3 panic attacks that day, but
that was a regular occurrence.
Yeah, it was a regular occurrence that was going on. And then... So I was like, oh, okay, I'm about to have a panic attack. But in that moment, I felt like God was speaking, and he was telling me to go and speak to this huge individual that could definitely like throw me across the platform and take everything that I've ever had, and then like, you know, just
break you.
Yeah. And I was like, you know, no, it's not God. It's the panic attack. And so I had to plan in my mind that I was going to run down the stairs as fast as possible so that I could like lean into the panic attack and find a place that was going to be safe. And so I got to the bottom of the stairs, ignoring, I'm like, it's a panic attack, it's not the voice. I've got voices in my head. Oh my gosh, I need to tell my psychologist about this too. And then I got to the stairs. My plan was working. I was about to be out because, of course, the guy was on the platform so he could get on the train. So he was going to leave. I was going to leave, and my life was going to carry on. I was going to get to the other side of this panic attack and hopefully make it to the gym. And then as I got to the last step, the tannoy, like it was in cahoots with God himself, was like, this train is going to be held at the platform to regulate the service. And so for me, for anyone else, of course, that was an announcement we probably hear every day. But for me, that was him saying, you better do what I told you to do. You have no excuse whatsoever. He's still there waiting for you. And so I gingerly walked back up the stairs, and sure enough, he was standing there. And I took a few deep breaths, wiped my forehead before I went to him, and I was like, hey, this is like almost word for word what it was. Because I haven't spoken to people in a long time, and now I'm speaking to this student. And I was like, hey, I have faith, and I think I'm a Christian, and I'm a pastor, and so I do like weird things sometimes. And of course, like, he's looking at me like, what the heck is going on? And I was like, I just feel like God is saying, one more day and it'll be okay. And before I could even ramble on and explain myself more, he like collapsed into my arms. He was heavy, like really
Big
heavy,
man.
but he was sobbing, and he said to me, I know you were sent by God. And I found out in the conversation that he was on the way to go and take his life. And in a day, his wife was gonna be back from a work trip. And for me, like, of course, like, everything that did for him was an incredible moment in itself. But for me, that was God saying to me, even in your darkest, deepest depression, I'm going to show you that you have hope, because I can use your voice to give that hope to someone else. And so I discovered then that it wasn't like, work boundaries and things that I needed to put in place. It was guarding my heart against the fact that I didn't have a future. Guarding my heart against the fact that, like, my circumstances were going to determine what that future looks like. Guarding my heart because, as it says in Proverbs 4:23, guarding my heart because everything flows from it. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Please.
As we wrap this up, what was the story stuck out with me? And the reason I said I didn't remember point 2 and 3, well, one, you skipped point 2 and you went to 3, and then by that point I was just so stuck in the moment of what you had kind of gone through in that situation. One, because I had witnessed maybe the space you were in, and I had just come out of, like, not a similar depression, but like a similar hard moment, maybe not in my life, but just in that relational space. And so being around people like you was just good for me. And then, so it wasn't so much just checking in on you. It was good for me to be around someone who's just real about their own life. But listening to that story in the moment, I was just struck, because I'm going, hearing the voice of God, being called to do something that's uncomfortable in a space where you feel like you can't even support yourself. How do you support someone else?
Exactly. Yeah.
When you walked away from that, what was that like? Like, do you remember, like, what that feeling or thought process, like, did you end up getting on that train? Did you,
yeah,
what was that?
The feeling in the moment was, I'm a little bit, I think we have this in common. We're a little bit hard on ourselves. Yeah. And I felt dumb, because I was like, oh my gosh, how did I ever question that in the first place? And then on the other side of that was this overwhelming sense of, okay, this is the turnaround, because I'm going to hold on as hard as God himself is holding on to me. Because like you say, even in my weakest, even when I couldn't even support myself, he used that to be able to make sure that someone wasn't going to take their life. And so, yeah, I think those immediate feelings actually still propel me today, because I know that there's people in our community who I don't even know the first thing about what it is that they're going through. But they need to know that if God can use me in that situation, he can use them. And on the other side of him doing that, I mean, on the other side of that partnership, on the other side of that interaction, is usually the very thing that you were looking for as you isolated yourself, as you took some time out, as you...
When I heard that, I'm cutting you off, but when I heard that story, it was like God put up a huge mirror.
Yeah.
And went like, I don't know, did you save him? Like, I'm not meaning that you saved him, but like the kindness, the human moment saved him in that moment. But like, did that moment save him, or did it save you? Does that make sense? Like,
but that's the beauty of who God is.
Yeah.
It's both.
It's both.
It's always both.
It had less to do with the space you were in. And I think this is like I think it's so tough because you can pull away so many things from that. But I think the thing that I go is like, no, even when you want to give up, it's like, this is a terrible, terrible quote, but Jonah Hill, is it Jonah Hill? No, it's Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen had this podcast quote that I love. And he just said, the way you make it is by you just never quit.
Right.
He's like, the only difference. He's like, literally, he's like, you have to be talented, all these things. But like, really? He's like, it's just who's left at the end.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the pool that they're picking from.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
If you can just get to the next day and just go, okay, maybe today's going to be hard, but I'm going to just not quit.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
Because I think in our humanity, it's you or me. It's like there's a competition between whether I'm going to be saved or you're going to be saved from whatever circumstance or situation, right? But actually, when it comes to him, it's both.
It's that ever fleeting, haunting question of, was there enough room for Jack on the board at the end of the Titanic with Rose?
And we all know the answer.
We all know, big boat, lots of wood. He could have fit on the thing. Leo died recklessly.
Exactly.
And even there's always room.
I love that. That's it.
There's always room.
There's always room.
Yeah, and she didn't really love him because she would have been in that water too. But it doesn't matter. Anyways, I appreciate you sitting down and having the conversation with me. I know it's like a kind of an abrupt spot, but I also just want to like keep having this conversation. I want this to be kind of the end of the beginning episode, you know, and just start something new. But thank you, man. And I'm excited for what you're doing here in London. I appreciate the team and everybody who's taken time and the crew who's waving, going, there's 18 minutes, the camera's going to stop recording.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you're listening to this episode, we really appreciate you. Hang in there. Keep track, and we're going to start documenting what we're doing here in London. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.